What's going on, everybody? TK here, and we're back in Destiny. With a little over a month left in the Season of Dawn, it's time to look forward to next season. I, like most Destiny PvPers, are hoping that next season brings the return of Trials of Osiris. Before we get too caught up in looking forward, however, let's look back. Flashback to May 22nd, 2015. You're teaming up with your two friends to walk into Destiny's first real competitive PvP activity. You slog through 6 matches and do decently well throughout. Last match comes up, and it's every bit the sweatfest you were expecting, but your team wins. When you do, you are presented with your first look at Mercury's lighthouse. I remember when I got there, my jaw literally fell. It was amazing. From the chest at the end of the lighthouse, I got a Void Messenger, and from that point on, that pulse was my go-to pulse rifle. Gear was unlocked through trials at 4 and 7 wins, as well as a flawless card and bounties. Every weapon and armor set from D1 Trials was amazing and memorable. To this day, D1 OG hunters will tell you that the cloak that they got from Trials was their favorite cloak. Let's move forward a few years. D1 has come and gone, and we are now in the double primary era of D2. Snipers and shotguns are now delegated to a heavy slot. Trials is still here, but Osiris has passed the torch to the 9, and these blue guys have a different set of rules. Instead of elimination, we now have 2 different game types to pick from: survival, which is similar to elimination, your team just has extra lives, and countdown. Gear is now unlocked through D2's token system, as well as at 3, 5, and 7 wins, and a flawless card. Bounties are nowhere in sight. After both types of trials have been gone for so long, we've had plenty of time to let it marinate and kind of reflect on what things made it good. While Trials of the 9 did have fewer positive merits than its D1 counterpart, it did do some things right. By having gear rewarded at 3, 5, and 7 wins and the flawless card, it provided players access to 3 extra pieces of Trials gear each week, and the lower skill level players actually had better chance of getting the gear. The coin mechanic made it where even if players couldn't get the necessary wins, they could at least get the tokens from challenges and playing the game to get some gear. Sure, it took 20 tokens for 1 redeem, but it was a way for them to get some loot. As for things that D1 Trials did right, the boons were amazing. The ability for a free win, your first loss not to count, and the first match played if it was a win to count as 2 were lifesavers. It made the grind so much easier. The gear itself was A tier. Like, you remember these gears: the Water Star, the Messenger, the All-Seeing Eye Sniper. Like, all of these weapons, you can have not played the game for years and these will still show up in your mind. In all honesty, I don't think Trials could have come back at a better time. For those that say the meta needs to change first, have to remember back in D1, there were times that the meta was horrible, but Trials went on. Do I have to remind everybody of the sidearm meta toward the end of D1? If you want Bungie to have a perfect meta for Trials to come back to, we're going to end up waiting forever. Every meta has something wrong with it. Right now it's air intel. Next time it'll be sniper rifles. There'll be something always, and we can't just keep sitting around. As of now, comp is stale. Skill-based matchmaking is quick play a sweatfest. There needs to be something more for the PvP player base. I do say, however, that there are some things that must happen for Bungie to knock Trials out of the park like they did in D1. First and foremost, they need to make gear accessible like they did in Trials of the 9. If gear is too hard to get, you'll end up alienating the lower skill player base, which then lowers the number of people playing Trials. You can see where this is going. It's just going to keep snowballing until, in the end, you're only going to have the hardcore people playing Trials, and anybody that wants gear from it is going to have a terrible time. The gear has to be worth it. That was my main complaint of this current season. The armor and weapon designs are great. I love the metallic knight feel, but as far as the weapons and their perks go, I'm not that impressed. The perk combinations don't have anything there to keep me chasing after them. There's only a handful of guns that have the rolls I'm wanting and willing to grind for this season. The Trials guns will have to have perk combinations that will bring players in and keep them coming back till they have gotten the rolls that they desire. Bungie also needs to make matchmaking for this skill based, so that way people, when they play, are playing against people that are just as good as them. If they end up making it card based like they did at the end of D1, you're going to have lower skill players that, yes, they can get a few wins, but by the minute of their card, when they're playing against players that have gotten 5 wins by just steamrolling other teams, they are going to get knocked down to that level every time. When if they make it skill-based, every time they match up, they have a chance at a win. Number 4, Bungie has to have some kind of pinnacle weapon for people to work towards without making the grind too difficult. This relates back to number 2. There has to be things for players to keep coming back to for the activity. A pinnacle weapon is just that. People will keep coming back to Trials every week for that season until they get their pinnacle. The final thing that Bungie needs to do in order for Trials to be a hit is to give it its own non-seasonal title. I'm saying this because as of right now, there's only one PvP related title in game. While Training Unbroken is definitely a feat, there needs to be something else in game that for PvP players to work toward. If they do add the title that is only available for a season like the Savior title is, once it's gone, PvP titles will return to where they started. There won't be anything for players to continue chasing. By having a non-seasonal, it's there continuously and players can slowly chip away at it until it is obtained, just like Unbroken. Overall, I'm excited. I'm really hoping Bungie does bring Trials back, because as I said, it can't come back at a better time. But PvP needs some love and it hasn't gotten it this entire time. I'm going to let this gameplay go. This was a match of elimination that we played the other day. It was a very close match. I hope you all enjoy it. If you want to catch me live, catch me at twitch.tv/Tiberkat, where I stream almost nightly. We're getting back on that Destiny grind, getting ready for next season. If you want to catch me here, be sure to check the subscribe button and hit the bell so that way you are notified when I upload to YouTube. Until then, I will see y'all later.